Right, in this video I'm going to go through an introduction to CSS3, and all I'll be doing is going through a few bits and bobs that are really handy for you to just take and use in your sites or whatever you're doing. Things like text shadow, box shadow, border radius, and a few other bits. There's a few. So what I'm going to do, just do this, and then I'll put a download link in the description, and then you can take this and do whatever you want with it. So right, let's just get started because it's quite a few. So the first thing I'll mention is vendor prefixes or browser prefixes, whatever you want to call it. And what these are is because CSS3 is not fully supported yet, at the time of this video I know it's not fully supported, so what you can do is you can use these prefixes, which are here. It's a little dash or hyphen, a word, and then another dash, so you do include the dash either side. And what these do is it allows you to have some of the CSS3 features working on your site even though the browser doesn't fully support them yet. So we've got WebKit, which is Safari, Chrome and iOS. We've got Moz, which is Firefox, MS, which is for Internet Explorer, and O for Opera. So if you're trying something out and it doesn't work, then you could try one of these at the beginning of the style and it could potentially work. You never know. But anyway, I just thought I'd put that in there because it's just one that's just handy, isn't it? So let's get to the first thing, which is border radius. So border radius allows you to give an element a rounded border. So scroll down to the bottom, just got this sort of really simple plain document here, HTML document. So if we have a look at this, all it is a paragraph tag and a div with a border on it, and this is what I'm going to be using for each of the examples. I'll add the example bit of CSS into it and then come back to this page and refresh it. So let's do that for, what was it, border radius. Right, so on the border radius I'll add it to this div which I've just called my div. So let's go up, so we'll just copy that, let's paste it in here, just upload this file, and then let's refresh. So as you can see, this has added this rounded edge to this div. I mean, and this is handy. I use this quite a bit. It's before when you'd have to like create it in Photoshop or Illustrator or whatever you use, Fireworks, whatever. You just have to create this background image and then separate it a bit so you can have a repeating part in the middle and all the rest of it. But with this, you can just literally give the border radius to it. Saves you a bit of time. It looks alright. You can't. It's not as if it looks all choppy or anything either. It looks pretty decent. So that's. So next one I've got is font face. So font face enables you to use a non-web font on your website, and it's really simple as well. I mean, there are things you can use like Typekit and other things like that, but this works, and this is part of CSS3 as well. So let me just put this in. Let's nick those bits, and we'll add this on the P tag we got here. So let's put these here. It wouldn't matter, but then let's upload that. So what this is doing is we're using @fontface, we're defining the font family, then passing the source of the font file and the format of the font file. Then all we do is we pass this font family name into our element, which for us is just this P tag. So let's, I can't remember if I uploaded that, right, let's refresh. So now what you'll see is this text will change. So as you can see, it's changed to use that Monroe font that I used. Quite handy. I mean, you see it quite a lot now. It's getting, the support for it's getting better. For a while it was looking really choppy and like just looked a bit shit, to be honest, but I think it's getting better. But you're always going to have problems with older browsers, and everybody's nightmare of Internet Explorer. But Anyway, so what's next? Text shadow. So this allows you to give your text a shadow. It takes 4 parameters. So it's the top offset, the right offset, how far to extend the blur, and the colour of the blur. Well, shadow, blur, whatever you want to call it. So let's take that and put it on our P tag. Upload the file. So when we refresh this, you see this text have a shadow on it. I can't remember the colour I've put in it. Oh yeah, it's this lovely blue. I mean that looks tacky as anything, but when you add a subtle like a grey, a light black, well, grey is light black. It looks quite good, and I use it quite a lot for, say you've got some white text over like an image or something. Adding a little text shadow to it, it does help it. It looks good. So what's next? Multiple text shadow. I mean, this is where it gets a bit mental. This is adding multiple colours to your text shadow. What you do is it's the same thing. It's the 4 parameters: top, right, blur, colour. But what you do is if you add a comma, you can add another colour, and you can just keep doing this for whatever you want. I mean, this one, from what I remember when I wrote this, it looks pretty rubbish, but it's just to display what you can do. I mean, it looks like someone's opened Word and had a panic attack in Word art and just fuck knows it. I mean, but you get the idea. You could mess around with it and whatever. I mean, it's there. It's one of those things, so just thought I'd include it. So what we've got here, multiple backgrounds. Right. So now you can add multiple backgrounds to an element. So all you need to do is separate them with a comma, same as multiple text shadows. So what we've got here is, do you know what, I'll just put it straight in there, down there. And then I'll go through it. I think I'll put this on separate lines actually, be easier. And get rid of these. Right, so what you do, put background image, and then you pass the URL as normal, but this time you add a comma, and then you pass another URL, and you can just keep doing this for however you want. Then you put background position, and then you do the same. You put the position of this, then the position of the next one, and so on. So if you had 4, you just put a comma, and you just carry on. Then no repeat, obviously, because if you repeat the first one, it's going to go over the second one. And then the background colour last. On this, the images I'm using, it's just 2 squares, different colours, and one says image 1, one says image 2. So we should see one in the top left corner, and then one in the top right corner, and then also a background colour of, that's like a light blue. So let's have a look. Yeah, so that's an image, and that's an image, and that's the background colour. But obviously you'd do something better than this. This is just to show you the syntax for it, really. I'll just get rid of all that. What is next? Box shadow. Right, so this can be a great time saver. Enables you to give elements a nice shadow. Again, it takes 4 parameters: top offset, right offset, how far to extend the blur, and the colour. I've done this green just so you can see it, but if you do this as like 1, 1, 1 and black, it looks alright. I've used it quite a few times. So again, it's like if you're doing, like, say, a white overlay or something, and it's on top of an image, just adding this box shadow to it can help it stand out a bit more. So I'll refresh the page, and you can see it's that lovely green there. But obviously this is just to show you the syntax for it. Hopefully you wouldn't do it like that on your site, but you might, who knows. Who cares? But yeah, so that's the syntax. It's really simple, but it can be effective. So let's get rid of that. So what's this border image? So I've add an image as the border. It's pretty obvious. So I'll just copy this, and I'll just try this out. I mean, this one, this one's a bit naff. Naff. I don't know. I don't think I've ever used the word naff before. This one's a bit shit, but I'll just use it to show you. So I'm using image 2. So that would have been the second from the multiple background images example I just did. Image 2 was the yellow square. So I think this should just look like a yellow border. But that is actually that square. So if you made the size of the border bigger, then you'd see more of it. I mean, I guess it's more for when using patterns and stuff like that, but I don't even know if you can. I should have picked a better one to do that, but it works. That's the syntax for it. I mean, if you want to use it, I'm not going to go through it. I don't really like that one. So let's have a look. So RGBA, this is pretty cool. I like this. So this is what am I doing it on? I'm doing it on the background color. So what this is your standard RGB there, and then the last parameter, the A, is alpha. So you can give a background color to an element with an opacity to it. So in this case, I'm doing it at 0.5, which is 50%. So this will be the 3 zeros is black, and at 50%, so it's going to be a light grey. Should be a light grey. Let's have a look if it is. So let's upload that. So refresh the page. Yeah, so you see it's like a light grey. But if we put that to be 1, then it would be full black. Yeah, so it's from 0 to 1 with like 0 point whatever in between. So now 0.2 will be, yeah, it's really light then. So yeah, again, pretty handy. What's next? So gradients. So this allows us to place a gradient behind elements without the need for images. The example I'm using is for a linear gradient, but you can use radial as well, but I've just used this one. I've wrote at the time of writing this, it only works with the mouse prefix. I'm not too sure if that's correct now, because I did write this a while ago. I'm not too sure, but oh well, it'll work for this. I'm using Firefox anyway, so you could try it out with the other prefixes and see. So let's upload that. So this should be, that's red and that's blue. So it's going to go from the top, red, and then meet in the middle and turn to blue, with a little like transition between. Yeah. That is lovely. I mean, that looks shit, but you get the point. It could be whatever. I mean, you could do something that would fit your site, obviously. But yeah, it's good. It can be good. So what's next? So this is the same thing, but this time with color stops. And what a color stop is, it's like having a gradient, but instead of it being just 2 colors, it could be as many as you want. So it's like something you use in Photoshop or Illustrator, but now you can do it with CSS3. So what I've wrote here is I've passed it. So wait, let me start again. So this is a linear gradient again. It's starting at the left with blue, then red at 5% in, then blue again, then red at 75%, and then blue. I mean, I've done it this many just to show you what you can do. So if you don't pass a percentage in, like I've passed 2 percentages here, if you don't pass that, it will just do them evenly throughout the element. For our example, it's a div. So let me add that there, and we'll upload that. and this should just look a mess, but it's just to get the idea. So this one will go from left to right. Yeah, look at that. Who don't want that? Yeah, so that's that. What's next? Transitions, right. So this is the last one I'm going to do. And this is, it allows you to add a CSS3 or CSS powered animation without the need for JavaScript. The example I've done is for a hover, and what it's doing is it's changing the opacity. So it takes 3 parameters. So here's the transition here. So parameter, what you're watching for our case it's the opacity. How long, 0.3 seconds is how long we want it to take, and how to ease in, linear. So let's take both of these and let's overwrite this one, I think. Get rid of them. Right, so what this is we've got that div again, same size, the colour of red, but with an opacity of 0.2, so it's going to look like a really light pink. We've put our transition, this is like an event listener, I guess. Well, it's an event listener, I suppose. And what we're saying is we want it to, the opacity to change over 0.3 seconds. Yep, and then when we hover, we're changing the opacity to 1. So let's have a look. So it's that pink, and as soon as we go over, it should fade into a dark red, and then fade out and go back. I mean, that's really handy for like a menu system, some sort of nav bar or something. It's pretty good. But yeah, I haven't included like a support cheat sheet or anything. I probably will. I'll put one in the description for how browsers are supporting. Like, I'll try and find a good one. It's quite up to date or is updated. So yeah. But yeah, that's it. I'm gonna go because this has been quite a long one. I'll try and cut it down because this is about 20 odd minutes now. But yeah, so hopefully it'll help you out, and I'll shove all this page. Hopefully it will help you out, and I'll shove this page for download, and I'll put it in the description.